All right, hello everybody. So this is the video for week one or module one, and according to the schedule, if you take a look at the course schedule, which is up on Blackboard, you'll notice that I'm not having you read chapter one of the book, which hopefully you have the textbook by now, or at least you should by halfway through the first week. That would be really helpful for you. So you're not reading chapter one because I thought I could summarize it for you, and so you don't have to read 50 pages of stuff that you pretty much probably already know anyway. So chapter one goes like this. In the beginning, there was a douchebag named Christopher Columbus who accidentally ushers in a new era of global exploration and trade and slavery and exploitation, because he bumps into the North American continent, well, the Caribbean, but not too long after that, people start realizing that white people from Europe start realizing there's a whole lot of land that they had no idea existed before. So Columbus comes, he enslaves a bunch of native Arawaks in the Caribbean. He kills a bunch of them and takes a few back home as trophies. And in Christopher Columbus's realizing that there are people out there that have not been, civilized or made to adapt Western ways and Christianity and all this stuff, he ushers in this new period where Europeans take an intense interest in North American lands. So this is kind of where chapter one is. It just talks about the colonization of European countries to come settle in South and North America. Oh, by the way, Columbus died believing that he had found a new trade route to Asia. Like, he himself denied that he had bumped into what the Europeans believed were a brand new set of continents. He died thinking he had found a trade route to Asia, and which is why he called the people he found in Hispaniola Indians, because he thought he had made it to the East Indies. And unfortunately, the name stuck for Native Americans. So anyway, chapter one talks a lot about Spain colonizing most of South America. Portugal is in the game as well in South America. North America is this land grab between the countries of a little bit of Spain. They make incursions into what becomes Florida and Georgia. France takes what basically we call Canada today. The Dutch arrive and they settle what becomes New York and New Jersey. And then the English come, and the English are kind of the last to arrive in the North American colonial scene. They take the scraps of what's left, and after a few false starts of trying to set up new colonies in Virginia and Massachusetts, there's a lot of bad, starvation, cannibalism. I think it's pretty grisly. After a few tries, the English finally establish a foothold in North America in what we call New England and the American South. And basically, by the time we get to chapter two, all of the colonies have been established, the 13 original colonies, except Georgia is kind of late to the game. So that's chapter one in a very brief nutshell, is just Europeans arrive. They realize that they have never seen these lands or these people before, and they start taking it for themselves. And so for us to talk about American history for the rest of the semester, we have to have that context in place, right? Chapter two talks specifically about the English colonies, which is what we're interested in. We eventually get the United States because the 13 colonies break away from England and start their own country with hookers and booze. No, that's a Futurama quote. No, they start their own country, and so that happens later on in chapter, oh my gosh, that's like chapter 4. So we're going to be talking about colonialism for the first 2 weeks or so. All right. Real quick though, so I've summarized chapter 1. The first couple of pages of chapter 2 talk specifically about English religion, like English religious warfare and stuff. You don't necessarily need to know a whole lot about that. I don't know why the chapter starts out talking a lot about what's happening in England, because it's stuff you don't really need to know for this class. Suffice to say, when you see the word Puritans, those are the kind of wild and crazy Protestants that end up settling Massachusetts, and basically the founding of America starts with the founding of white, European colonized America starts with a bunch of religious fundamentalists arriving in Massachusetts. A lot of our kind of weird religious history can be traced back to the very beginning, the first colonial years of Massachusetts Bay Colony, and you'll see that reflected a lot in the historical documents for this week. There's a lot of talk about God paving the way for the Puritans to come and take what they believe is rightfully theirs, which is land in North America. And God's going to pave the way for them and remove any barriers, including the Indians. And this is the foundation of what becomes the United States, is this belief that God will give these new white colonists what they desire. So, yeah. So you can kind of skim the first couple pages of chapter 2, because it talks a lot about what's happening in England, where the Puritans came from. Basically what you need to know is everyone in England hates the Puritans because they hate everyone else. Hey, kitty. And they come to America because they can have religious freedom in the kind of uncharted wilds of North America. So make sure you pay careful attention to the schedule, the module schedule, because you will not need to read all of chapter 2. In fact, you will not need to read all of most chapters that I assign to you. Look at the page numbers and only stick to the page numbers that are in the schedule. My cat is very needy right now. So don't read all of chapter 2. Skim the first few pages of chapter 2. Because it's confusing, and a lot of it has to do with non-American stuff. And then when you're done, take the quiz and also get started on the historical documents for the analysis paper. I have uploaded a sample paper for you to look at. I've uploaded also the instructions for the first analysis paper. If you have any questions about any of that, please let me know as soon as possible. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll try and hold office hours tomorrow afternoon, although my son is having very, very bad tooth pain, so we might have to take him to the dentist tomorrow, Monday. I'm recording this on Sunday. So Monday, I may not be holding office hours directly, but you can always email me with questions. All right, this is getting kind of long, so yes, all the best to you, good lasses and chaps. And let me know if you have any questions. Good luck. Have a great start to your summer semester.